Welcome to Hotline FN, episode 11 of the live call-in show for your hot takes, bold predictions, and unpopular opinions surrounding the competitive Fortnite scene. This week is a super special week because we've got the World Cup in a day. It starts at a day. Professional matches in 2 days from the time of recording. This is incredible. This is huge. We're kind of mourning this week the loss of Ballatw on the show. Ballatw is in New York preparing to cast the event. So instead, as my co-host this week, I've got Bumpaah. Bumpaah is phenomenal. We've had him on the show before. Real grinder. You know him from the community. It's going to be fantastic. He's going to make for a great replacement for now, for this week. Also, our special guest this week, we've got Scented, Liquid Scented, fantastic player from West, kind of lend his perspective and his thoughts and his takes. Kind of scuffed the intro and lost it to the beginning of the stream of the live show. So this is recorded after the fact. So we're going to have to hop right into it this episode. But I hope you enjoy episode 11 of Hotline FN.
No, it's just being 22 years old and having the wrists of a frail old man. I don't go to the gym. I don't work out, you know. I'm not built very well. I don't know how Tom Brady does it. He's been playing football into his late 40s, and I can't even hold a mouse. So there's that.
Close. Not even close. Yeah. Well, like, one, you're not Tom Brady. No offense, but you're just not, Bumpaah. It ain't happening. Scented, this is your first time on the show.
First time on the show, yeah.
Yeah. What have you been up to? Like maybe this week? Anything cool happening for you?
Dude, nothing cool. Just same old playing Fortnite. You know, nothing very cool to be honest with you. But yeah.
Hell yeah.
Just normal stuff. Normal stuff.
Normal.
Nothing cool. Just winning trios tournaments. You know, it's
That's
no
all.
big deal.
That's
it's
all.
no big deal.
At all.
Nothing that
Making a couple
interesting.
grand here and there.
Just
It's no big deal.
Just a
It's
cool
no big
couple of
deal.
grand. Just a little bit.
Chilling.
No
Just a
biggie.
little bit of money. You know.
And I'm gonna be super interested in talking with you about that. You know, as we go on here, right? Like, obviously, trios are kind of like done in the past at this point. I hope not, but like that's kind of what it feels like. So we'll focus on the future. But I'm very interested in talking. I'm always interested in talking about trios, guys. Like, let me tell you. Okay, so yeah, Hotline FN. Here it is. Here we are. Another week, another episode. World Cup is hours away. You know, it's in the double digits amount of hours, but still hours away. And it's exciting. There's a lot to talk about here. And before we get into all of it, let's go over the format. This is a live show, and that means that we need you to call in. Bring your takes, bring your points of debate, bring your opinions about who's going to qualify or who's going to like end in the top 10, who's going to make some money, who's going to underperform, who's going to overperform. Maybe you just want to talk about the new sniper rifle, whatever it is. Type !Hotline FN into the chat. That'll get you access to the Discord where you'll post your topic. You'll be sound checked by a mod and we'll get you on the show. It doesn't work first come, first serve. We kind of pick and choose as we go along what fits the tempo and what we're talking about. But get in there. The earlier you get in there, the higher chance you have of getting on the show quickly. And that's it. That's what everybody wants. So !Hotline FN. Alrighty. So thing we always start with, even though it isn't super pertinent, is we like to start with patch notes on this show. The only real thing we've got in this content update is the new sniper rifle, which is disabled in arena. Sorry, not arena. It's disabled for the World Cup, correct? I think that's it, right?
It's disabled in arena, I think.
And arena as well.
And arena.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not in arena.
Arena and World Cup disabled. I got it. Okay. So it's not got a lot of relevance yet, and because it's disabled in arena as well, like there's not
I can't actually talk about it though, because I just played in a tournament where it was on pub settings.
Oh.
And I was abusing the shit out of that thing.
That's what I want to know.
Broken.
Is it crazy?
What is it?
Is it ridiculous?
I don't even know what it is.
It's all right. So it's this new sniper rifle. I think it's called like the Storm Scout, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
So when you scope into it, it shows you where the next zone's going to be, and it shows your dot in relationship to it. So you can literally walk yourself and position yourself to the next zone. So like say you get so you know where
can you like
so,
predict like
hold on, you lagged out. Oh no.
yeah, my computer froze. What the heck?
You're
Can
good.
you
You're good.
predict like
I'm
what?
good. Can you predict like 5 zones later or no?
No,
like
it's
2
only
zones.
1 zone ahead. It's really awkward. Like when you look at the like UI of it, it looks like you can see multiple zones, but you can only see 1 zone ahead.
What it
So, like,
shows you
like,
is the zone that's currently revealed on the
yeah,
map.
it shows
and the
current
next
zone
one.
and then the next one. Yes. So it looks like it shows multiple zones, but it only shows ones. That actually costed me a game in that tournament because I thought it showed like 3 zones ahead. I was like, oh, we got half and half, boys. And it was actually just 4th. So, but no, like you can abuse the shit out of it. Like you find out where 3rd zone is. You set up center zone on 3rd zone. You don't really need to know where 4th zone is because you're center zone 3rd, so you're going to get 4th. And then you just, once 4th zone reveals, you check where half and half is in the Storm Scout rifle. You just walk your ass over there, and now you got half and half.
That is broken. That is so
OP.
stupid.
It's
crazy.
OP.
It's crazy. It's crazy good. Like it's a whole slot, but in a lot of ways, you don't. It's not. I don't know. A lot of people, anytime you pick up any item that's not like just a really good gun, like best in slot kind of gun, you know. You're always like weighing against like, is this worth holding over heals or mobility, right? Or utility like stinks. But the thing is it kind of invalidates like you don't need quite as much utility or mobility or heals if you just know where half and half is and get to walk into center for free
100%.
before anybody else, right? Like
it'll always be useful in team game modes. In solos, maybe you pick it up, you see where the next kill goes, and then you chill. But in team game modes, you should always have at least one guy holding it. It's so broken. I'm just props to Epic though for disabling it for World Cup and learning. I don't know if Stormflip's disabled for World Cup because I swear I've seen Stormflip back in Arena.
It's not an arena. It's not an arena.
Okay,
it's not
so
an
thank
arena.
God.
Yeah, same.
No.
Right,
And I think Airstrike is disabled for World Cup. Is that what I read? Or is it?
No, I think that's still an arena.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think they Airstrike's doesn't play that. It's not that bad in my opinion.
It doesn't have that
It's
huge
just
effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get into that too. I know. Bumpaah.
Yeah,
that's a topic.
You guys are excited. You guys are excited to talk about that.
Off.
Okay, let's jump right into it then. Since we're here, let's bring in. Here we go. Let's bring in your boy Kastorz. And Kastorz, where are you calling from again? I mean, you're a regular now, so I'm not having you introduce yourself entirely, but.
Yep, I'm calling from Kentucky.
Kentucky,
Hey,
that's right.
Kentucky
that's
represent, baby. Kentucky represent.
What did you want to talk about this evening, Kastorz?
So the topic I wanted to bring up was actually, like Senta just mentioned about airstrikes. I think they're terrible and they either need to be buffed or nerfed, and like pretty soon. And some of the reasoning behind that is, so it's got like a 9-meter radius, which is about 2.5 blocks, which is a really small radius for an airstrike. And then it only does 200 damage. So that breaks wood walls, but it's not going to break fully built brick or metal. So it's really not going to do that much anyways. And you can just turbo build to prevent any damage to you. And each missile only has an explosion radius of 3.5 meters, which is 1 tile about.
Yep.
So it's really just clogging the loot pool because it's floor loot, it's chests, it's in supply drops, it's in vending machines, it's in llamas, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And it only drops 1, and you can only stack 2. And the only time I've ever seen it do like anything decent, like suppressing an enemy, so like my teammates in a trio can go behind them and pinch them, is with 2 of them. And that's just where it's even starting to work at all. With 1, it's completely useless.
Yeah.
So I think a way to buff it might be to make the stack size larger. That's about it.
Yeah,
It's already 2, right?
It's already 2.
Yep, it's
and
2.
Yeah, it's 2.
like having 4, I don't like finding 4 just to make it a worthwhile item in the loot pool. I don't think that's the
gold
fix,
already.
right? I think it's it's sort of this. You allude to this like broader issue of just like items clogging the loot pool, right? And we kind of like brushed on this a lot of times in the show, right? But this isn't a game I think will ever be. There's 1 shotgun, 1 AR, 1 SMG, right? The idea is that's a form of balance in and of itself, right? There's like 3 different SMGs, and sure, like 1 might definitely be the best in the case of like say drum gun and silenced SMG or suppressed SMG, but those still allow you a chance to have multiple chances at a type of SMG in the early game or at whatever stage or from whatever like looting object you're getting, right? So there's like some space for duplication overall to an extent, right? But there also is a point where you go too far and you've totally clogged the loot pool up. Scented, what do you think about this, specifically about the airstrike? You seem to kind of agree that it doesn't do much. Do you feel like it's just in the way when you find it?
I feel like the Airstrike is definitely just not a good item to have in the game. I feel like it's not like it's not bad though, you know, like it's not something that like can ruin someone's game very much. It's just something that shouldn't be in the game and doesn't need to be in the game, in my opinion. Yeah, I guess. I don't know if I explained that really poorly or not, but yeah.
No,
yeah.
I mean, it was pretty straightforward, right? I mean,
yeah.
The question is it's like it does. Basically, what you're saying is especially in a situation where it's just multiple decent players, it just doesn't really do anything, right? So you're giving up a whole slot.
If you're boxed up in metal, like it's not going to break the metal or do anything to the people inside of the metal. Even if you're in wood, it breaks the wood a few times and doesn't really do much to you.
You use like
the
3
only time
bills
it's really,
holding a roof, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The only time it's really useful is maybe late game. If you throw it, it lands on the team on height, and it just griefs height. But that's maybe the only time that's actually useful.
Yeah, I think that is the only time it's useful, right? Is like late. We're talking like 8th to 9th circles, dropping it somewhere just to harass height while you try and make a play, right? It's like a distraction tool for one very specific part of the game, and it's just that, a distraction. You still have to like execute and risk a fight and all this other stuff if you're trying to retake off of it. So I don't know, Bumpaah, do you think that is this the kind of situation where you would love to see this item buffed? Like, do you want to see Airstrike made stronger so that it actually has a role without, like, you know, being stupid?
No,
or would you just have it get out of
asking
here?
Stupid questions. No, I'm so fucking tired of Epic introducing these stupid items that have no place in the game. We've talked about this so many times where Epic just adds items that don't fit the game at all. And they're just meant to grief. We've seen it with boom boxes. We've seen it with bottle rockets. We've seen it with storm flips. Now we got airstrikes. These items are not effective in any way. They don't net you anything. They just grief somebody else. So they're literally just there for Epic to piss somebody off with. They do nothing. Little Timmy's not getting any kills with them. Okay, they're just griefing people, and it's just making the end game and the game experience worse. That's all they are. And they have got items like that have gotten removed over and over and over again, and they keep adding new items just like that.
But the one that has never been
cool.
removed. Yeah, I mean, so the one that's never been removed, right, is that essentially fits what you're saying is stinks, right? It doesn't entirely fit what you're saying because you do get something out of it. It's not such a, like, the storm flip is such a large area that before it kills anybody or does anything effective other than make space, you're so far away from your own storm flip that you're not like capitalizing on it. You're not getting much, right? But whereas the stink is such a small radius that it is able to be used in so many more situations than just throwing it out and hoping to net a point off of somebody dying, right? You can use it to create space. You can use it to, like, actually go for a kill. We can talk all day about whether or not stinks are broken in and of themselves.
They're annoying but effective. Like, everything else that we talked about are annoying but ineffective, so they don't really have a place in the game, which is why people don't want them in the game.
Totally. I mean, as long as you talk about hypotheticals, right? Like, I could see a world in which airstrikes exist. Their radius is shrunk even more, like, significantly. So it hits, like, a 1x4, right? If you throw it right in the middle, it'll maybe hit a 1x4. And up the building damage by a lot. Not even necessarily up the player damage, because it's already, like, kind of high if you get lucky to hit, but up the building damage so that you're going through, you know, 8 wood roofs if you want to sit there and hold. I mean,
yeah, like,
is
you
there
know, like in a Clash Royale, like when you send that rocket over?
Exactly. Exactly. A little more specific, a little more, like, guided and intentionally aimed, and a little more effective because of it. But I don't know, like, is there still even a role at all even for that kind of an item? Like, what all does that do other than, like, I don't know, it feels like you throw it to cover your rotate and that's about it, right? You still don't want to use it in a fight because now you don't get to use your shotguns because you have to take cover from your own rockets. Like, I don't know. I think I almost agree, Bumpaah. Like, there needs to be a better defined, like, role for items as they're introduced, right? Like, because the role here isn't even, like, it's fun. Because it's not that fun. You just, like, throw a thing and then things happen, right? It's just kind of like, it's not even that fun. You know, it's not like a grappler or something or a bouncer. It doesn't have like a very...
It has no style to it. It's just annoying. That's all it is, really.
Yep.
I don't know. They keep adding items like that to the game, and I keep getting more and more triggered about it. So.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree completely. All right, Kastorz, thanks so much for bringing this topic to us.
All right, thank you guys.
Have a great evening. Throw mine out of there. Throw mine out of there. All right, let's
him out of here.
get out of here. Let's move on over to another long time caller. Architecc, what's up? Where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm from West.
From the West.
Yo,
Yo.
what's good?
Very specific. Very specific.
We're all ganging up on Bumpaah now. That's what it is. Get these East Coasters
Yeah,
out
you
of
guys
my
are bots.
face.
That's why you only got one qualifying spot for duos.
Oh my! The whole chat's gonna go off on you.
I got the whole West Coast community in the stream right now. I'm
Turn up, post it in their screen.
I'm L dancing on all of you right now.
Oh my!
All right, what do you want to talk about, Architecc?
All right, so I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on for this topic, but so next weekend there's supposed to be a squad tournament, right?
Well, okay,
I
wait.
think
Back up from that a little bit because
Yeah, where are you getting this info
there's
from?
supposed to be,
Yeah.
as in like, yeah, maybe we'll have a squad
No,
tournament immediately after
exactly.
World Cup.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
that.
all right.
That's
Continue.
pretty much. It's like speculation at this point.
Yeah.
So like, let's say they do squads next weekend, right? That means they've been pushing for trios and squads pretty recently in the past tournaments, right? So what I feel like this could look like is Epic could be looking towards a more competitive scene similar to PUBG, maybe in the sense that they set up like a league, right? Because it's a lot harder to get 100 people all supported by their like organizations and then franchise that. Whereas if you have 25 people, and we've seen this with PUBG, it's successful as well, it could lead to organizations being able to take part in this kind of like league and then franchise similar to other esports like League, Overwatch, Dota, stuff like that, right? And I guess this idea is also, it could be supported by the fact that they actually, Epic Games acquired Nate Hanser, who actually helped to set up the Overwatch League. So, I don't know, maybe something.
Yeah, so this is something Ballatw's talked about a lot, but also Epic's made it pretty clear they're not super interested in working with the orgs, right? Like they want to work with players, and that's it, right? They want to have control over that system, and they don't want to just like, you know, they don't want to open franchising up. They don't want to like sell spots to organizations. I mean, anything could change, right? And obviously that's how Overwatch has worked in the past, but it doesn't seem likely with how, especially with the last competitive AMA, which is the last like in-depth communication we've had. You know, they talked a lot about how they're just not interested in working with orgs, and they have a strong focus on players and how they want to enable players to stream during tournaments in the future. It was something they hinted at, like that kind of stuff. So I honestly, I just don't see it happening, but I also don't think it's necessary. I don't know. Bumpaah, Sente, you guys got thoughts here?
I don't see franchising coming around anytime soon. Everything that Epic's done makes it seem like they like. In an ideal world, Epic, there won't be a single org involved. Like players will literally just make their money from playing the game and winning money and prizing, and orgs would never touch the game. Like we've seen it with like PAX, TwitchCon, Secret Skirmish. They don't even include team tags.
Yeah.
In, like,
100%.
names. Like they get rid of the team, like the org tags, and they just have the player name. Like they change that. I don't personally agree with it. I would like to see more org involvement. I would like to see the orgs be supported by Epic more, because they're paying players a salary and they're making it possible for these players to like play the game and provide entertainment for Epic. But you know, I don't see squads as a way of them franchising. I just see it as them testing.
Right. No, that's true. I mean, even with the World Cup, there's only, I think, like 3 logos allowed, like entirely.
Yeah.
And that's not even necessarily like organization. That's like, you can only go in with like 3 Gucci logos on. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
What do you think, Scented?
I don't think Epic supports or sorry, I'm like reading your chat and it's just a bunch of West players trolling, and I'm like, it's really annoying.
I'm getting distracted by it too.
Sorry, yeah, it's really like sorry. Do you want to repeat the question, Kana? Sorry.
Architecc, did you want to repeat the question?
Know, like,
Oh wait, is that me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was talking about the idea that Epic could maybe look into franchising due to the fact that they have more squads and trios tournaments, right? I mean, we just talked about like how that's probably not going to happen. Epic very clearly wants to paint themselves as the reason people are turning their lives around in these tournaments, and so yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. They don't really support orgs at all, and it's clear from past tournaments and everything that like even taking the orgs out of the names at certain events, like they just don't really support them whatsoever, even though it's giving player like a lot of these orgs are giving players the opportunity to play the game. It just doesn't really make sense. But obviously, people are still going to continue to play the game and stuff. And like it doesn't matter if they're not going to support the orgs. Like the orgs are still going to be here, and people are going to play the game regardless.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at
true.
orgs, successful orgs in other games, a big part of what they do to become successful, and I mean, League of Legends again is just where I have most of my experience, right? Like a team like TSM, a team like Cloud9, they dump so much energy into building brands around their individual players, right? Like a ton, you know what I mean? So much. They want to build up these individual players as icons in the scene and use, you know, that sort of tertiary flow to bring in income for the org, right? Like they I mean, they don't, like, obviously TSM and all these orgs, they care a lot more about their own personal branding now than they did even say like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. But it's already in a lot of spaces architected around
Good one.
around supporting the individual players and making them the known names. And so I don't think that a lot of orgs are going to have a problem necessarily with the way Fortnite is handling things, right? As long as their players on their orgs get attention by being good, so there's like a clear line to like, how do I get attention? I make sure my players have everything they need to do well. Then I can't see an org being that upset. I mean, correct me, I've not signed, never been signed, but you know, I don't know, maybe you can speak to that a little more, Scented. Does Liquid ever seem upset with the lack of attention out of Fortnite?
No, not really. Not that I would know. Like I'm not high up in the organization, as you can tell. But yeah, I don't believe they're upset or anything whatsoever. It doesn't like matter that much, to be honest with you. But yeah, I wouldn't really know, and I can't really speak on it, to be honest with you, because I'm not like high up in the org. Yeah,
I hear that. All right, thanks, Architecc. Thanks a bunch.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good show.
Thanks, man. Have a great night.
Peace out.
Alrighty. We're kind of just cruising through them this evening, guys. I'm already ready with another caller, so let's just hop right into it. Hey, how are you doing? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Nick, also known as Grinicide, and I'm calling from New York City, and I'm going to be going to the World Cup, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Hey,
That's hype.
Yeah, I'm turned. It's going to be nice to like, meet all these people that I've been talking to and all that stuff and playing with and whatnot. But yeah, I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
Hella. So what did you want to talk about this evening?
Well, the main thing I wanted to talk about, just because like have all this World Cup stuff in my mind, is like how players from like Oceania and like Asia and Brazil will fare this weekend, because like people are saying they qualified through, I guess, like easier conditions, which I guess like because the players that they're playing against aren't like, I guess, as talented as maybe like a Europe or North America or whatnot. I mean, I feel like that's not true, but like I think they can make an impact, and I believe more respect needs to be put on their names. And if it has been, I wasn't aware, but from what I've heard,
Trios at the very least, Trios kind of like pushed people into. Oh, I left the room. My bad. Trios kind of pushed people at least a little bit into like a forced situation where they had to put a little more respect on the names. But I think a lot of the logical line of thinking people take is Oceania has less players. Everyone who plays there is not as good. But like that's missing some crucial steps in the process, right? Because like those don't actually correlate. Like A does not equal B here, like at all. That's kind of nonsensical without the missing steps, right? The actual situation is Oceania has less players than like NA East, right? OC has less players than NA East.
Yeah.
Therefore, there will be less players that are good. There will still be good players, just less good players. And then, due to less good players, there's less good players for the good players to practice against, so there will be significantly less like elite tier players, right?
Yeah.
And that lack of like strong practice and practice against other or as many elite players and stuff, is there 100 players like good enough to have solid practice against? Like these are all questions that definitely should be being asked, but they're also overcomeable, right? Like, yeah, it's going to be surprising if what are the names? If like Volks and Parpy, like if they like pop off and do incredibly well, yeah, it'll be surprising because nobody's expecting it out of OCE. But like, it's no reason to like shit on them just because they're from OCE. Obviously, they've figured out a way to get around their like potential deficits in practice to find ways to practice effectively and to become really good at the game, right? Like, I would never in a million years put them at the bottom of the like I would place plenty of NA East, NA West, and EU qualifiers below them at this point, right? Like as far as like my personal rankings for World Cup goes. So I agree completely. I feel like the hate is overblown. I feel like I don't know. What do you guys think? Scented, Bumpaah, what do you guys think about OCE?
I agree to a certain extent. Not just OCE. OCE has a few top tier players, just like any other region does.
Yeah.
Like any region's gonna have good players. It's just population based. Like it's just factual that OCE is gonna have less good players than a region such as like Europe or NA East, you know, or even NA West. We don't have a very big population. We lack in good players on NA West as well. But like if you look at a region like Brazil, they came over to NA West and their top players, the players that qualified, were getting pickaxed in our West scrims. So like I agree to a certain extent. Like the OCE players are pretty solid players. Like the top OCE players are really good players. But if you look at the top Brazilian players, they are not as good as the top OCE players, even with a bigger population than the OC region. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's a great point, and it just goes to the I don't know. I feel like it proves the point even more, right? Of like Brazil theoretically should be having better practice than these OCE players, and yet these OCPE players have, you know, these handful have found a way to get effective practice and to be good at the game despite that setback, right? Bumpaah, you got anything?
It definitely depends on how quickly they got access to the game and like how quickly they got access to a comp scene. But if anything, if the Trios Cup has shown anything, like and playing duo scrims in tier 1 prac on the East Coast has shown anything, is that these OCE kids can hang. Like they can play. I'm not saying I think that they can hang, and I think they're just as good as a lot of these NA pros, like the top tier OCE guys. But the big thing at World Cup is going to be LAN experience, and that's going to be the main factor on how well people place at World Cup. It's not going to be how amazing you are as a player. I think it's going to have a lot to do with your nerves on LAN and like understanding how to play in a LAN environment and understanding how to play 6 games in a row against the same exact opponents and know how to change up and adjust to situations on the fly. Because the same people are in your game. It's not open quals. Like you can't rely on one spot and one strat to work every game, because top tier players will start to counter strat you and understand, okay, this guy rotates like this without his teammate. We can pinch him here and we can set up a trap for him here and kill him and take his loot, get the free 50 pot. Like people adjust quickly on LAN, and that's why the LAN hardened people will definitely be coming out on top.
Wait, real quick, do you know the I mean, I don't know if any of you guys know how like the warm-ups can work for the players? Because
there's no warm-up.
There's no, okay.
Never has been.
All right, perfect. Okay.
On LAN.
So that's gonna play a factor too.
They've got like these previous, I know they have like a sick freaking setup there in like a hotel where there's a bunch of computers and people can practice the days before, but like day of, it's going to come down to how you're playing day of. All right. There's no like pre-game warm up. There's no creative before the games. It's not ideal, but it is how it is.
Yeah. Like we were talking about the warm up stuff before the podcast as well, and like if you're on a controller, it's obviously like easier to warm up.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Obviously, like playing on a controller is harder than playing on a mouse and keyboard. Like it is way harder. Like
yeah, I would agree with that, like building wise and whatnot, but you know, when it comes to ascended tracking scores,
This kid's no, but I mean, I can kind of see that, right? Where like with a controller, things like, I don't know, it feels like, maybe you guys can correct me, but it feels like for me at least, little things like how my chair is positioned and exactly how I'm holding my arm can have like a huge impact on my day, like my day of playing, and like those things still exist for controller players, but I feel like it's got to be mitigated a little bit when you're like you're just making contact with less things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're just
playing on a new setup is not nearly as hard.
Yeah.
100%.
It'll be interesting to see if that, you know, if we see that show. Obviously, I'd hate to ever prescribe someone doing well to that. Well, it's easier for you to warm up because you're on a controller.
No,
that's something interesting to take, you know, to take to the bookies, right? Like, up your over-unders, guys, on controller players. You heard it here first. I want to cut. All right, Grinicide, thanks so much for bringing this topic up to us.
Hey, no problem, man. Have a good night. Have a good rest of the show, and enjoy the World Cup this weekend.
Thanks, man. You too.
Have a good one.
Scented, I want to clarify here. I want to clarify for everybody, right? Saying, don't let chat get into your head, right? Like saying that you think Brazil is weaker, the top Brazilian players are weaker than the top OCE players. That's what we're talking about. All the players. You're not saying a region is flat out worse than another region, even though that might be the case in certain cases. That's not what you were saying. You were saying that the top Brazilian players, in your opinion, aren't as good as the top OCE players. Which I think is totally valid. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, we've got Kastorz decided to come right back in.
Back at it again.
With the hot take too. What's going on this time?
I got to thinking about other utility items and like purely utility, because I don't think Shockwaves and Shadows go under utility. I put them under mobility. I think there needs to be more utility items, and one of the ones that I would like to see in the game is smoke grenades. But first, like, fix them, make them so you can actually kind of see through them a little bit, and it's not like, I don't know, going through like a cloud. And I just kind of thought of this because like a month or two ago, I was just watching Cease play that was like Unvaulted or something like that, classic squad scrims, and it just looked like so much fun.
I think like I don't mind having things like that in the game, right? Things that are for mobility but they don't just move you, right? Like they are designed to make moving and doing things easier if you have the item, but it doesn't just physically do the thing for you, right? Like, smoke clears up, you pop a couple smokes, whatever that looks like. Maybe smokes come in stacks, whatever it is. Pop a couple smokes in front of the holding team so you can move in. I think that creates interesting gameplay patterns, right? Where someone starts popping smokes, someone can start spraying it. Multiple teams can use that same smoke for cover, that kind of interesting stuff. I think it just has to be implemented very consistently. It has to be like Counter-Strike, right? Where you know how the smokes are going to work. You know when you can and cannot be seen. You can't be dumb stuff like getting shot from half in the smoke because they can see out, that kind of dumb stuff. But generally speaking, I'm all for that kind of thing. I'm all for experimenting with that space. I feel like there's a lot of utility space that's been like unexplored. By Epic. What do you think, Bumpaah, about smokes specifically? Smoke grenades.
I can't think of like smokes don't appeal to me too much as a utility item that I think we need in this game. Because like, what are smokes used for? They're used to give you cover so that you can rotate. Well, what's building for? It's to give you cover while you can rotate. Like it's just replacing a core mechanic of the game. And I'm thinking like, whenever I think of an item like that, I just think of, all right, how is this going to grief endgame? Just like everything else. So like, imagine somebody holds on to a bunch of smokes in endgame and his final closing circle and just decides
nobody can see anything.
Now nobody can see. Like we don't need stuff like that in the game. We have plenty of utility. We have RPGs. We have grenade launchers. We've got what? Dynamite's not in the game. I can't think. Stinks is utility. I don't know. I definitely think that I think we have enough utility as is. And we don't need smokes in the game. I like the game how it is. I like the game being more bare bones.
Sure,
and I don't think that we need more smokes.
If you're thinking practically, you have to acknowledge that they're not gonna just stop adding stuff. Like that's not gonna happen anytime soon. So as far as in the light of they will be adding stuff, I'd rather them add stuff like stink bombs than stuff like storm flips. Things like smoke grenades than things like storm flips. You know what I mean? Straight
it's not as bad as a storm flip, but it's like the same type of grief. Like, all right, they throw a storm flip, the whole circle's enveloped in storm flip. They throw a stink, I can't see anything anymore. I'm blind running around. Why are we adding more things to the game that could possibly make endgame more chaotic? Endgame should be skill-based, positioning-based, rotation-based. We don't need all these random items just adding chaos to the game. Like the introduction of Shockwaves, while they're good mobility, they're just grief balls that people throw and freaking cannon themselves through all your paths. Like I'm so tired of pathing an endgame and being dropped 10 levels because somebody decides he wants to shockwave through my floor. Please stop adding stuff to the game that makes endgame more chaotic. Keep it as skill-based as possible, and we'll have ourselves an esport. I promise you.
I think Shockwaves can still be skillful though, like, and items like
I think if Shockwaves acted like impulses, all right. So if Shockwaves were like impulses,
they didn't break builds.
They didn't break builds, but still granted fall damage immunity and shot you as 4, they'd be perfectly fine. But the fact that you can rocket yourself through people's builds and just drop people to low ground randomly makes them just actually grief machines. Like, it's very annoying to play with.
Yeah, 100%.
So you agree with that, Timmcd? You're not a fan of Shockwaves, generally speaking.
I'm not a fan of Shockwaves. Of course, I abuse them in scrims and trios and stuff. Like, I'm gonna abuse them. I'm gonna abuse the hell out of them because like it's the meta right now. And if you're not carrying Shockwaves because you think they're stupid, you're not gonna do well in games. But like.
Yeah, 100%.
Like everyone that wins either has an RPG or Shockwaves all game. Like the Solary people when they won the trios, they got second in the first week of trios. All they did was Shockwave height and grief height every single game. They take it first moving with Shockwaves. Like just abuse Shockwaves and RPGs and yeah. I don't think it's good for the game and it's not healthy for the end game. But like you got to do what you got to do to win.
And it's hard too, right? Because
and that's what Fortnite's all about.
Yeah.
And it's hard too, right? Because if you just take out Shockwave, like that story doesn't change too much. Like the actual active mechanics of it change, but like the path to victory just shifts. Instead of whoever had the most Shockwaves, you know, instantly, especially in trios, it becomes whoever had the most launch pads, right? Whoever had the most shadow grenades, shadow bombs, or whatever, right? Like, and that's just kind of an issue with how mobility is designed in the game, right? Of like, there's always going to be one that's just kind of like just the best, and whoever has that is going to be doing the best, you know.
That's true, but an important distinction is that like launch pads, yes, whoever has the most, if they get rid of Shockwaves, whoever has the most launch pads will win the game. Like they'll have, or will have the best chance to win the game. But
it's not necessarily the most. Like all you need is 1 to 2 pads and you're fine. Like
but launch pads don't grief you like Shockwave. Like launch pads, 1, they increase your chances of winning the game, and 2, or Shockwaves, they increase your chance of winning the game, and 2, Shockwaves also decrease the chance of others of losing or of winning the game just as a byproduct. Like you throw a Shockwave down and now you grief this one guy, and now he might have had great mats, but you just Shockwaved him into somebody's box, and now he's getting 50-50 shotgun fight right now. Like while it does help your chances, it also griefs somebody else's, and Epic needs to focus their game design to make it so that that's not the case, and they need to stop putting in items like that.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. A more specific focus on here are tools that will assist you in doing things rather than tools that prevent your opponents from doing things like boogie bombs or you know, just like actively affect your opponent in ways that's not you exerting skill over them, right? Like a gun hits them because you outplayed them to a point where you can take a shot on them versus Shockwave grenade just like moves them into an awkward position, right? Like, I don't know. I don't have a particularly massive problem with Shockwaves, especially I feel like Shockwaves would be mostly fine if they didn't break through builds. But I don't mind that thought, you know, that desire for that kind of approach to future development, right? Yeah, I don't mind that at all. All right, thanks, casters. Thanks for hopping back in.
All
right.
Peace. All right, we got a special. We got a super special caller. We got a super special caller. Why don't you give us your name and where you're from?
Hello, this is Ballatw back with another VOD review, and
that's my dad.
Ballatw!
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Where are you calling from?
Man. Coming from New York City.
New York? What? How is it out there? Are you having a good time?
Man. Yeah, dude. Great time. It's awesome seeing all the players. Everybody is like congregating in the lobby like every hour and just like slowly leaving, but just seeing everybody hanging out. It's a great time. But I'm grinding and I'm really tired. But my wife just got here, so it's awesome.
How it smells like shit.
In the player lounge, yeah, 100%.
Bunch of undeodorated boys,
sweating their minds out.
It's just you put 100 people in one room, it's gonna smell bad. Like it's just the reality of the situation. But yeah, sure, they definitely need to put some deal.
I mean, I definitely meant like the outside streets, but yeah.
Well, Bala knew what you meant. He knew what you meant.
Yeah, no, I know.
All right, Bala, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I want to talk about how I think that people are going to be pretty much unprepared for how aggressive some of the players are going to be, especially in some of these bigger drops, like Happy Hamlet, like Loot Lake, like Tilted, and to some extent some other things like because I'll just use Saf and Zayd as an example, and Saf and Zayd are probably not going to be unprepared because it's Saf and Zayd, but just putting the matchup on paper, right? Aiden and Sean and Loot Lake against Zayd and Saf. I think using this example is good because Scented and Edgy like Loot Lake a little bit as well. They could like run up against Aiden and Sean, and they are just crazy aggressive, and that could catch them by surprise. So I think a lot of people are going to run into that issue in early game, and there's going to be a lot of people who don't do well at all in World Cup because of their early game.
Okay, I mean, this is...
I 100% agree. Obviously, you're going to have players that are really nervous at LAN. I don't think Aiden and Sean are going to get nervous at LAN, but maybe, like, I don't know, if you look at the map, you could probably find a team that's played in events before. Like, you could take... Mitro and Mongrel I tilted, like Mitro has LAN experience and stuff. I'm not gonna get I'm trying to go somewhere with this. But then you could he has LAN experience and stuff, aggressive player, just like Mongrel as well, aggressive, fighting Clicks and Skeptic off spawn.
And Parpy and Volks too.
Yeah, and Parpy and Volks too, no LAN experience. Like Mitro knows what he's doing, like super aggressive, probably not gonna be very nervous in the time being, and a lot of the players that are nervous are going to be looking to make it out of their spawn alive, not look to fight and just leave with a good amount of loot. But what you said, like, players are going to be aggressive and, like, go for kills off spawn that aren't nervous and have LAN experience. So I think a lot of people will definitely be caught off guard by people that have played in events before and stuff.
I think something that's also understated is that, you know, it's been a minute. We've had like a nice solid chunk of time without too many severe changes to the game. And then you've got everyone reaching out to coaches and analysts, people like Destiny's Jesus here in the chat, right? I feel like this is going to be one of the first times we see a large portion of the players being really well prepared, right? Like they know where Saf and Zayd are going to try and rotate out of, you know, like which route they're going to be taking out of Loot Lake given circle XYZ. And that's going to create more opportunities for cheeky, aggressive plays, right? Just having a better idea. Now you know everyone in your lobby, and you are given this much better chance to study where they might be weak, when they might be weak. And that can go both ways, right? You could use that as a tool to play safer, or you could use it as a tool to play more aggressively. Either way, you as a player, you know, to keep on Saf and Zayd, you have to be aware that people are gonna know those things. You know, they had the opportunity to know those things. You can't just assume you're gonna be able to skate by, like, you know, in prior events, right? I don't know, Bumpaah, you got anything here?
I don't really have much, but I know that Zayd and Saf, like, I don't think they'll be caught off guard by Sean and Aiden's aggression. I definitely think that they're so good at controlling Loot Lake that they'll definitely have plans to get out uncontested. Whether that means they have to leave with less loot, it's not a big deal for them. I think that Zayd and Saf, they understand the negatives and the RNG involved with early game fighting, that they're just not going to want to take place. Now, I don't know, some of the less LAN experienced players, maybe they'll think, okay, I early game fought in quals. It got me some points. I think I should early game fight on LAN to control my drop spot, get the loot that I need. But I think that we're going to see very passive play styles here at World Cup, and I think that just the $30 million is going to do things to people that it's never done before. I think
so. I didn't use Zayd and Saf as an example because I thought that they would be caught off guard. I just think that matchup specifically is interesting because Zayd and Saf are passive. They would like to not fight if possible, and Aiden and Sean would like to fight if possible, right? So it's just that dichotomy between those two is an interesting matchup to talk about. But if you think back to Bumpaah when we were playing Pleasant Park, right? We started off our finals games in TwitchCon very passive. And we were scared of fighting Iskash and Lemonade. And we know we didn't want to fight them. But then all of a sudden we flipped the switch and we're like, fuck it, let's go. Like, let's just play aggressive.
Yeah, it's because we had 0 points.
That caught them off guard, right? It wasn't. It definitely caught them off guard. And they were the better players at the time. 100% they were the better players, but we still shit on them because they were completely caught off guard.
Yeah. No,
early game fighting also has a lot to do with your loot. Like, especially at Loot Lake, like if you get the loot that you want and can fight with, like the loot that you need to fight with, you can push. If you don't get it, you have enough loot to disengage most of the time because how big and how much loot there is there. Like, especially like the World Cup, people are gonna know Saf and Zayt and Sean and Aiden are landing there. I don't think you get a third team there. 2 teams splitting Loot Lake. Like, if you get like insane loot, you can push. If not, you can just disengage super easily, regardless of like where you are in Loot Lake.
And both Sean and Aiden, Zayt and Zaf are smart enough players that they'll know if they have the loot to take this fight. So I don't know, Loot Lake could become a toss-up on whoever gets better loot first, and if they're in position to take the fight early.
Yeah.
So
especially given like, you know, Factory kind of feels like it just naturally has. Factory side just kind of naturally has this advantage over the far side, right? Like you're closer to, over the east side of Loot Lake, right? You're closer
and that's where Sean and Aiden land.
Is the east side, right? Yeah. So, I think there's definitely potential here. You know, Bumpaah, you said you think people are going to play really passive, but I mean, we've seen a lot of just all you have to do is look at Ballah's Twitter to see reports of these kids big dicking it around the hotel, right? Like, I think that
they're fucking scared, dude. Yeah, man. Don't come Tilted Towers, please. I'm begging you. I want it uncontested, please. I really don't want to fight on land.
But also, these kids are, not just these kids. All of these competitors have proven that they're not stupid either, right? And like waiting till in-game is sometimes a sure bet in the qualifying format, but I mean, when you've got Storm Surge ticking on, right? If you've got this pack lobby in the end game, heck, an early game engagement is like less RNG at that point than trying to rely on finding kills and not just falling apart 50 people corner zone, right?
Early game tags, but
you don't really need you don't really need kills. Like if you base up, like if you can farm your mats, you get good enough loot early game. You farm your mats, people are going to be shambles late game. If you have max mats, you find a good position, center, third zone, you're most likely going to have enough tags. You can easily get 400 damage on people rotating around. Like, that people are going to be psychoing each other half an F out when they see that Storm Surge thing pop up, or even second zone above 70.
But even just like trying to avoid Storm Surge, like out of like not even considering that right now, but like points, just for points, right? Like these guys aren't stupid. Like they're gonna realize that, wait, if I really do feel like I can bully Saf and Zayt, or if I really do feel like I can bully Sean and Aiden in the early game, then they're gonna, right? Like, why wouldn't you? Like that's free, right? If you're actually that
the
confident.
Likelihood of that happening, if for some reason one of these top tier duos has a shit day and they're getting absolutely slapped around, you're gonna take advantage of it. But the likelihood of that happening,
no way, dude. You're not gonna take advantage.
Okay.
A risky fight off of spawn.
I'm not saying I'm gonna 50-50 the guy.
I know you're saying. I know you're not saying that. I'm just saying, like, you're still not even gonna be even poking, right? If you are pushing somebody on purpose without knowing for fact that you're gonna be able to kill them without taking any damage and not losing any momentum or time or anything like that, then well, number one, you're never gonna find that situation, I don't think. And number two, you're also still a psycho. It doesn't matter. Remember, this is Fortnite. Anybody can kill you at any time, and all of a sudden you have lost 1 out of 6 of your games. It is absolutely psycho not to go for placement before going for kills.
Placement,
even if there's a
our call might have dropped here. Did I lose everybody? Did I lose everything?
Complete advantage. It's tripping hardcore.
He's had one too many White Claws. I promise you.
All right,
fucking
boys.
West Coaster.
I'm gonna leave you with that because it looks like it's F's in the chat. Our argument was too heated.
We back. No, I died for a second there, guys, but we're back. We're back now.
In game.
Yeah, I died in game.
I think if you have like a top East duo or top NA or EU duo that is landing at the same spot as one of the other regions, like maybe an Asian duo or a Brazilian duo, you can definitely fight early game and know you're going to win your early game fights with good loot.
I think they'll definitely be looking. All right, I said it wrong because like I definitely think they'll be looking for it, but I'm not saying people are gonna full blown psycho each other off spawn just because they know that a worse duo is landing on them. I've talked about it so many times where like just because somebody's worse than you at the game doesn't mean they can't kill you in game. Like that's why the whole clip culture is so dumb to me, because people clip you when they kill you and they think they're better than you at the game, but here they are with never qualifying for a Sunday. So like it's the same thing at LAN. Like you don't want to take these fights against people who are worse than you just because of the potential RNG and things that can happen to you in that fight and ruin your own game and grief yourself.
Yeah.
So, but they like I would definitely be looking for early fights. I would definitely be taking like wide stances on people, seeing if I can get early AR tags, prodding to see if they're white. Do they have shield yet? If I'm at 200 HP, I get a white tag on somebody, we're going, you know, like I'd be looking for kills more. I'm not saying that I would be psychoing for kills more.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's like anyone though. That's anyone should be doing
it's how smart players play.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. Scented hit the nail on the head. Like these guys know how to play the game, and the land hardened guys know how to play the game. They'll know how to look for kills.
Well, so that's kind of the original reason why I called. Is I think that there are some people who are not necessarily in that mindset that you and Scented have, where you play it for experience, you play to tag, you play to make sure that you get the information. And I think people are going to be unprepared for that. I think that we have all kind of said our piece, and I have to leave because I'm going to go have dinner with my wife. She's looking really good, so I'll catch you guys later.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in, Ballatw. See ya later. Have a good time in New York at the World Cup. I hope casting goes well. He's gone. Okay. All right. Let's bring in the next caller. We got another fella here. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Nick, and I'm calling from California.
What's up, Nick? California? How hot is it where you're at?
I'm not sure. Probably like 90 degrees. Probably.
He plays Fortnite. He doesn't go outside, Tim.
Yeah,
Stop asking stupid questions. Come on.
My bad. Bad comms. All right, what do you want to talk about?
These days. I wanted to talk about how, the Fortnite World Cup fill-ins, like symmetrical.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Scented should be the fill-in instead of symmetrical, honestly. Because of his placement.
Why?
Dude, you just came in here to, I don't know, boost your ego for real
This is the
quick.
clout girl. Well, so they picked
I'm
it.
not answering this. I'm not making a comment.
They based it right on it's an average, right? They took average placements, average kills.
Yeah.
I think even off the average placements, I think Scented has better ones just by
mine are in solos and duos. His are only in solos, and he was picked as a solo alternate.
Yeah, they average all your solos together. They average all your duos together. It's not all the weeks averaged together.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
So no, like they're both great players, but according
you all
to
deserve
Epic's
to be at the
system-
World Cup, okay?
Yeah, I should have qualified. 69th in solos is good enough. Where's my spot, Epic?
I got top 700. Where's my money?
I want my 50 grand.
Yes.
All right. Thanks so much, YerMomOnToast, for calling in. Have a good one.
We
Good
set up a little ego boost for you. Don't worry. We had to stroke that ego real quick.
All right, we're going lightning round through the callers today, guys. We got so many people in. Let's bring in the next one. Someone I know personally. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Kyle. I'm calling from Iowa.
Kyle from Iowa. What's up, Shoob? What's up, Shoob?
Midwest Ping. You know what's up?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I have something to say. I think that Rhux is actually going to win the World Cup solos, and I'll tell you why. Okay.
All right.
So you guys have done some talking in the past about people being seasoned on LAN and having like experience, right? Rhux is your guy, man. Think about it. He was a previous LCS pro, right? Played tons of LANs in League of Legends, so he has that experience. He doesn't get nervous. He's calm, humble. He's a grinder, man, right? Pro in League of Legends, that's not easy to do. Takes a lot of work. A lot of people play that game. And also in Fortnite alone, he's qualified for Winter Royale, WSOE, whole bunch of stuff. He played WSOE actually with Psalm, Scented. And you could probably tell me that Psalm is a good player to grind with, right? You learn, you get better, right? So I think that Rhux is going to show up, and I think he's going to win it.
Wow, I mean, you got the whole defense here.
Prediction.
I mean, but he's got whatever. I guess it's right.
Right,
I guess
backed it
Rhux is
up.
winning.
He backed it up.
I agree with your prediction, but I'm going to tell you why your opinion's wrong. Okay,
All right, go for it.
So this is your fatal flaw. Okay, if you would have said that Zayt and Saf are going to win duos for all these reasons, I would have been like, yeah. But your fatal flaw is that this is solos. The winner of solos will be the guy who gets the most placement and who balls the hardest. I promise you right now, solos on LAN is pure placement. And it's gonna.
Rhux is a placement player.
Yeah, I don't disagree that Rhux can win World Cup. I don't disagree with that at all. I definitely think he has all the tools necessary to win the World Cup. But solos is a huge toss-up.
Right.
It's gonna depend on if your ball gets griefed, if you get griefed, if you get psychoed somehow. Storm Surge tags. Like I promise you, solos you will not be able to accurately predict the top 10 or like come even close, because
I think
solos are just so RNG, and it's so hard to predict like how people are going to do just because of the way the mat cap is and the way mobility works. I think that Rhux has all the tools, and I think he's an amazing player, but I don't think that you can concretely say he will win solos in World Cup because it's solos.
I think you can narrow it down to like at least the top 25 for sure, just based alone, because I think one of the big things that's going to come into play is like keeping your cool and not raging after like getting like your ball broken or whatever, right? And another thing that Rhux has for that is Rhux used to drop Godfax, right? And he got clipped by Thwyfo and Snoot a couple times. You know, that's pretty rage-inducing. So if you've been through that, you can go through anything.
No, I'm not. You said it yourself, though, man. Like you can pick the top 25. You can say the top 25 most likely people to win solos, but because it's solos, you can't say who's going to win the World Cup just because it's solos. I'm sorry.
You guys have a betting site I can put my money on?
Not that I know of.
Dang.
We don't condone betting here at Hotline FN. We're a Christian show.
I'm all for it. You kidding me? If it's legal for you to do it, be smart.
You know,
go for it.
I think a baller will win solos. Someone baller will win solos.
Yeah.
You think
as long as they play it smart and they get their Storm Surge tags and stuff, you can go into late game shambles with the ball and get out and hit someone with your shotgun and they're dead and you get stacked. Like,
something I want to mention too, though, is like while you're like dropping all of Rhux's credentials in here, like you're some kind of legit plant. Like the thing is that he's not the only one with strong credentials backing him up, right? Like, sure, the League of Legends connection like is nice, and there might not be anyone with like quite that deep of like competitive LAN experience. You still have like players that were grinding battle royales for years, including on LAN, you know, prior to Fortnite coming out. You've got players who have performed better than Rhux historically in all those events you mentioned that he's also competing against.
Better, you think?
Then I don't know if better.
A couple maybe. I mean, they placed like what, 4th at WSOE?
That's true. It's hard to do much better at that point. But how did Rhux place in Secret Skirmish? Do you know that off the top of your head, Shoop?
Was he in it?
I don't think he was in it.
Sorry, not Secret.
I don't think he was in it.
Shoot.
Winter Royale?
Winter, yeah.
I mean, he's West. I qualified finals, but I was on 100 ping in finals back when my internet was dog shit and I didn't really take the game too seriously. So like that was so ridiculously hard. Like I don't think you can judge off of that, to be honest with you.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. All right, Shoop, thanks so much for bringing your hot take, and judging by the looks of it, pretty unpopular opinion. Peace, dude. Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Bye, Shub.
See ya.
All right. Okay, so we kept like kind of talking about it, kind of skirting it. So I'll bring in our next caller here because this is kind of what he wants to talk about. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Tom, and I'm calling from Vienna in Austria.
Wow.
Fancy. Holy shit.
Far away.
Yeah. What did you want to talk about tonight?
So my question was, how big of an impact do you think Storm Surge will play in how Endgame plays out during World Cup? Because like when playing customs, when Storm Surge like activates, people start to go crazy and they start to make bad decisions. And do you think that will happen in World Cup?
Awesome.
100%.
Thanks so much for bringing this up. I'm gonna move you out, but we're gonna talk about this topic. Thank you a lot for bringing it to us. Have a good night.
All right. Good comms.
Thank you, Austria. All right, yeah, you go for it, Bumpaah. What do you got to say about Storm Surge?
All right, jeez. Okay, I was trying to be selfless.
Now, monkey.
Selfless.
Do as I say.
No, but no, I definitely think that Storm Surge is going to play a huge part, just because, as unfortunate as it, Jesus Christ, chat knows why I can't talk, but as unfortunate as it is, Storm Surge is like the bane of like a smart player's existence. Like if you avoid fights, if you stay away from people, Storm Surge is gonna bite you in the ass, especially at LAN. Because if you play center circle every game and you rotate smartly and you avoid any fights, you're always going to get Storm Surge, and you're probably not going to be able to find tags if you're center circle. Because if you've ever watched competitive Fortnite and you pay attention to how the map plays out, the most congestion is on Edge Storm, on the side of the map where the storm had to move the most. So people are always on Edge Storm, and those are the people that aren't going to have to worry about Storm Surge. So people are going to have to play the game for Storm Surge. If you're balling out in solos, you're going to have to plan your ball routes in accordance of finding tags along your route. So like, say you have a route and you pass by a major POI, you need to be looking into that POI to find tags on people, or you need to be hugging Edge Storm and maybe waiting before you rotate center circle in your ball to roll around, find some tags, and then rotate. Because Storm Surge is going to absolutely cuck a lot of good players who are not prepared for it.
Yeah, I think, gone are the days for the competitive, like the truly competitive players, where Storm Surge is just like this extra thing that happens every now and again, especially in this event at this stage and at the level at which these guys have been practicing, for the last, during the entire World Cup season, right? Storm Surge is something they've become accustomed to. They know how it works and they know how to take advantage of it, right? They know that once Storm Surge hits, that's a great opportunity to look for picks while people are psychoing for Storm Surge. And they know that they need to get ahead of that early, not later, not when it's happening, because other people will use it as a way to take advantage of them, right? Someone who's trying to psycho for, Storm Surge damage, or psycho to avoid Storm Surge damage, is almost as easy a target as someone like rifting through the sky, right? Like you're looking for them, you're aware of it, and you're trying to punish it.
Oh, if somebody riffs, or all right, there's no riffs anymore. But if somebody hits the slip or takes a launch pad when Storm Surge is active, it's like blood in the water in shark-infested waters. I promise that kid is going to get ripped out of the sky. He will not stand a chance. Everybody's going to be looking for tags on him.
Storm Surge is something really...
I think...
Sorry, go for it.
Sorry, go ahead. No, all you.
I was just going to say, Storm Surge is this really interesting aspect that a lot of people who are going to be tuning into the World Cup aren't going to be that exposed to, right? Like, I hope that the production team does a really good job of communicating exactly what Storm Surge is, how it works, and how the players are going to try to use it to their advantage, and how it's not just a tool to punish people for being alive, right? Like, although that is kind of what it is, but it's so it's kind of new for a lot of people.
Being killed by a lightning bolt.
Yeah, and it's especially interesting because it affects how you have to play the game from minute one off of your drop, and in a way that like everyday players are not accustomed to. They just have no clue how that's going to affect their game. What did you have to say, Scented?
Well, even in customs, like you don't see stacked lobbies. Like you won't have like at World Cup we might see Storm Surge first zone like with 90 alive when it closes. Like you never know, right? And that number might be so big that if you're going into the late game with no tags at second zone, you might need like 300 damage to be above Storm Surge. The players that know how Storm Surge works and how it, like when it's going to tick, how much damage you're going to need, like what you're going to have to do to get that damage are the players that are going to like do really well. Like a lot of people don't know about Storm Surge. Like they don't know how Storm Surge works very well because of you don't get stacked games. Like a lot of people don't know that you need, if there's more than 90 alive first zone, Storm Surge will hit, or 70 second zone. Like I don't think players will be comfortable in those situations, and when they see that they're hundreds of damage below, they're going to suicide onto each other, and it's going to get chaotic.
Yeah, and
it will completely ruin games and affect playstyles.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think? Well, I mean, there's no going back, right? Like it's this thing that it's going to be there. Yeah. It's going to happen. Yeah. It's going to be an effect in some way or another, right? So, and you think that, and you're saying that these players, these World Cup qualified players, you think that not even they have had enough opportunities to really practice the way it affects the way the entire game plays out.
I don't think many people have, and like you have a few smart people in the game that know how how every single Storm Surge works when it takes like, but like no one's experienced it first and second zone very often. Like people are going to be so clueless when it comes to it, in my opinion.
As far as I don't think it activates. It's the way the Storm Surge work. It's second zone, more than 70 players. It activates. Fifth zone, more than 50, and then moving zones, more than 30.
And first zone, more than 90.
Wait, really? Oh, I did not know it was first zone more than 90.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be big because I guarantee you we see more than 90 in first zone.
When it closes
Maybe.
6 minutes in.
I mean, on paper, there's quite a few teams contesting, relatively small spots. Like, do you think we're going to see, all 4 of the teams that are dropping Tilted leaving Tilted, right? Like, that's not going to be happening.
I mean,
maybe 2.
Okay, say 2 teams. I don't think we're going to see a lot of people die of spawn.
Really? Even
people disengage.
The very first game, at least the first game of World Cup is going to be absolutely nuts. Like people are not going to know how to deal with it.
That's a good point.
People are going to get into a fight, they're going to start shaking, and they're going to leave the fight. They're going to back out and disengage and play for endgame. Like
it's like if you queue into the stacked lobby in finals of World Cup at like the very, very last game, you queue into the stacked lobby, like you'll have like 85 alive when first zone closes, and that's not even World Cup. Like you will definitely see Storm Surge and sorry?
Sorry, I was just clarifying.
Yeah. Like you will definitely see Storm Surge first zone, in my opinion.
Alrighty, that's gonna be interesting. We got over unders on Storm Surge first zone, guys. Like what's the odds on that one? Because it seems like Sinted's gonna be taking it. Okay, well we've got one more caller for the evening. Just one more caller. Bring them in here. Hey, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Eli, and I'm calling from New York right now.
New York. Are you going to be attending the World Cup?
Nice.
Yeah, gonna be attending to support my friends and stuff.
Heck yeah! Congratulations. So, what did you want to talk about tonight?
All right, so I wanted to talk about how World Cup qualifiers, people should have qualified. In my opinion, people should have qualified depending on their average placements and elims and all that. Like how the fill-ins were chosen instead of the 1 week point system that we had. And like people like Fuzzy Hogman and Symmetrical definitely should be playing in the World Cup right now, or I mean tomorrow and Sunday, because of how the average placements were.
Yeah, I mean this is really interesting. Something again we've talked about, right? And we normally talked about spreading more games over the same period of time, for the World Cup to kind of make a league out of it. But even just with the system we had, they could have done purely averages, right? They still could have given prizes, cash prizes based on single day performances, but then had like a weekly leaderboard of how everyone's doing on their averages for placing, in the weird kind of situation. A weird situation that would have created with the way qualifiers were set up is that you could totally have someone 1 week going, my average kills is really high and I got first place last week and made some money, but I'm not very high on the to qualify leaderboards because my average placements are really low. So this week I'm totally forgoing kills and only getting placements, and that could have been kind of weird week to week, but I don't know. Ultimately, I think it's way better to do something like that in a game where 10 games is not representative enough of your total and complete skill. At least I think so. What do you think, Sintid?
I think that's better to a certain extent. Like everyone has bad weeks, and if you have one bad week, that could ruin you qualifying. I think you could take your top 5 out of the 10 weeks, and that might be better than taking all 10 weeks or top 8 or 7 out of the 10 weeks rather than all 10 weeks. Everyone's bound to have bad weeks and not necessarily bad weeks, but maybe not top 10 weeks, I don't know. I feel like that's definitely better than some lucky kid from West getting a miracle week and qualifying rather than
who are we talking about?
Maybe being
ats. Drop the at.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's better. Consistency should definitely be rewarded rather than fucking one lucky week,
Yeah, Fortnite should be approached more like golf than
Yeah. I definitely agree with that for the competitive sake of the game, but speaking as one of those lucky bots, somebody who acknowledges that he's pretty dog shit at the game, I would like to think that, you know, maybe 1 week I could pop off and qualify for the World Cup. So I kind of like,
which is why it is the way it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what Epic's catering to bots like me. Who's like, oh man,
I think it's not even
pop this week. Me and my baller, we could get 60 points,
the
48
baller.
placement, 12 kills. I'm killing it, boys.
I think it has more to do with just catering to bots, but it's just catering to a wider player base.
Yeah,
irrespective of skill, right? They want everyone to feel like they got a chance, whether or not they're going to be there all 10 weeks, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
For
but
better,
I
for
do
worse,
think
right?
that like a winner royale system would be a kind of middle ground. I definitely think that Timmcd's idea was better, to take like a couple of the weeks, like a couple of your best weeks, average those out, and then whoever has the average couple best week, because like he said, one bad week will sink you. Winner royale might be another option as well, where like if you pop off, like the top X amount of scores, the highest scores qualify you. But then we have the same problem with some random person getting lucky and popping off 1 week and getting a score that's in. So like, say it's NA East, what was it? It was 10 weeks, 3 duos a week. So 30, so like one of the top 30 scores is what you would have to get to qualify.
Yeah.
I could definitely see like there's still being some RNG aspects. So I agree with Timmcd. I think that if we want the game to be more competitive, we need to take average placements, but we can't take every average placement, because even great players have bad weeks, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you're starting to get like into my wheelhouse, right? Like statistical analysis and stuff. This is what I do professionally, but I think there's a whole host of ways that they could handle that type of situation, like you're talking about. A lot of different ways to handle their averages, what they factor in, what they don't, what they drop, what they keep, like a lot of different ways. But I think in general, we're all in agreement that we think that the way forward is a way that incentivizes consistency over single pop-off moments, which is interesting because like consistency isn't that exciting a lot of the time, right? Like the singular moments is what's exciting for viewership. And so I think that whatever format you're utilizing within that like qualifying system still has to be a way that gives you those exciting moments that are meaningful without you know, all of your chances being based around just those few moments, you know, because like really when it comes down to it, for a lot of the people who qualified, it wasn't like a single great run of 10 games. It was like a single 2 or 3 good games within a run of 10 games, right? That like really pushed a lot of these teams over into the first place spot over the rest of the competitors.
I mean, maybe on East. On West, you need a lot of good games.
That's true. That's true. I'm talking mostly about East. I should be talking about my own region here. Yeah, West is like, you got to be perfect. You got to kill everyone every time.
It's so RNG based. It's crazy. Yeah.
It may as well be Friday Fortnite in a lot of aspects. You know, just get lucky enough who you face, who you run into. And
exactly, like if you can queue bad lobbies, like you can queue, like West doesn't have very many good players, so you can queue into bad lobbies and get really lucky with a lot of bad players in your lobbies and just able to slay out and W key, super stack going to late game, like you can just steamroll them and like you just queue those lobbies and you're chilling.
Yeah. All right, toxiicz, thank you so much for bringing this topic to us, and I hope you have a fantastic evening.
All right, good night to all of you guys. Have a good night. And Timmcd, mwah for you.
Peace out.
That's that type of romance I love to see on the show.
This is we got the romance curve. We got
you
the
can kiss him back. What the hell, man?
We're doing everything.
Come on, bro.
Wow.
Blow your bros a kiss. Come on, bro.
It's anti-PDA over here.
Wow, unbelievable.
Anti-PDA on the podcast,
Yikes. I didn't tell him to be this way.
Purely professional.
I'm here for professional reasons only.
Professionals only. All right, guys. Well, we're approaching the end of this whole shebang here, so we can't step away without talking a little bit about our top picks for the World Cup, right? There are some obvious favorites. There are some less obvious favorites. Why don't you give me, Bumpaah? I want your of the players talked about often. Who do you think is going to do well? Who do you think is going to do poorly?
Of the people that are popular.
And who's your sleeper?
All right.
And your sleeper could be anyone.
All right. Duos, Zayt and Saf. No shit.
They're going to do well.
Solos. Does Bizzle play balls in solos?
Yeah.
All right, Bizzle for solos.
At least he's called with balls.
Okay. He's a smart man.
Yeah.
And then my sleeper pick, I could see Fatch winning solos. The man knows how to ball.
He knows how to ball, but he's not getting Storm Surge. He's screwed to Storm Surge.
Oh yeah. If somebody get Fatch on the line right now, I'm gonna give him a lesson. Fatch, I'm gonna win you $3 million.
Shoot
right
at
now.
people.
Fatch, you gotta shoot at people, please.
Yeah.
Good comps.
yeah.
Good comps.
All right. I don't think a lot of the players that are free agents haven't placed in really anything, had miracle weeks, will do, not necessarily free agents, but they don't have people like backing them, helping them, supporting them. They're not like known in the community. They don't, a lot of them don't VOD review and put in the time to actually like grind. I don't know. I'm just, yeah, but like a lot of them will not know what to do in certain situations, and they will die to Storm Surge and various other things.
Do you think that's still the case? Like, if that may, like, you can say pretty confidently that like player XYZ was that type of player before they qualified. They qualified, luckily, or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 weeks since the last weekend, right? Like, that's a lot of time, potentially up to like 8-10 weeks, depending on when they qualified, right? Like,
yeah,
that's a lot of time to suddenly decide I need to take this way more seriously. You don't think there's room that you're surprised by a lot of those players?
How many people have you heard that are actually like doing, like, you come on, nobody's really been paying attention to what these guys have been doing the last 4 weeks that much. Like, they qualified. All right, see you in New York. I don't know what these kids have been up to.
Yeah, I have no clue what they've been up to, but a lot of them genuinely don't seem like they're smart enough to like learn what's going to happen in World Cup. Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's a take. That's a take and a half right there. What about something interesting I want to talk a little bit about is how do you guys think, just because he was on the show before, but how do you each individually feel about kschb? How do you think kschb is going to do?
Really
kschb was like talked about a lot back in
Yeah.
the day, and people kind of just recently stopped talking about him, especially when it comes to solos.
He's disgusting in solos, and him and Elevate are going to dominate in duos. I can see kschb getting top 5 in both solos and duos.
Ooh.
He's very good. He's very
100%. kschb is nuts.
kschb's playstyle is so good for both duos and solos, because like Elevate can rein him in and make him like play a more structured playstyle in duos, but in solos kschb is so mechanically skilled and so good at slaying that he can pop off, and he has lane experience.
Really good aim.
So yeah, fantastic aim, fantastic game sense, fantastic at killing people.
Yep.
He has everything he needs to do well in both game modes.
Okay. I said last week that I thought Vinny and Zex were gonna maybe do well, and then got immediately shot down by Ballatw. He's like, they don't even like, they're like not gonna be a duo afterwards. There's no way they're getting like good practice.
Is that real? I thought that was a meme.
I'm pretty sure because Vinny is west and Zex is east, it's just hard to work out. I don't know.
They're kind of screwed.
Yeah, like that. No.
Yeah, not keeping the chemistry with your team. Like, yeah, man, I'm done with you after World Cup.
I don't think it should be like that. Like,
it's not a great vibe.
They're on TSM and they qualified, so like they could like move in together.
Is Vinny on TSM?
But then again, you know, TSM got a team house.
Oh yeah, you did.
During World Cup quals, TSM got him a team house in Texas. So like,
I don't know what they were thinking getting a team house in Texas. But
everybody's moving to zero
good
ping.
Comms, good
I'll
comms.
take the 50 Texas ping.
Yeah,
I'm not taking a single wall. I'm handicapping myself.
I mean, they have zero ping house on West. TSM does for Myth, Hamlins, and Daquan, but yeah.
Another sleeper that never seems to get talked a lot, except for in bits and spurts, is FaxFox, right? Do you guys follow FaxFox at all? Do you feel like he's a contender in solos?
Yeah, no,
I've
watched his streams during the qualifiers and stuff. I think he's good. He is just like, you can't really tell on when he goes on Asia servers and just mops everyone. It's like you're mopping bots. A lot of them are high ping from like the Middle East as well. They're playing on 100 ping.
Yeah.
Like it's just you can't tell how he's gonna do. I don't think his play style will work in World Cup where they just W key and suicide. I don't know.
To be fair though, that's the exact same things that we were saying about OCE players before they all showed up in New York. You know what I mean?
But we've gotten a taste of like FaxFox at LAN with ESL, and we've gotten a taste of how OCE plays against NA with them being in the country the last couple of days, and I'm much more confident after seeing the performances that OCE has put up in scrims and cups compared to how FaxFox did at ESL.
Okay.
But I'm not saying he couldn't have matured as a player since then, but I'm just going strictly off of what I've seen.
All right. Last kind of throw it at you guys. How about kschb and skeptic?
Can I go back to the last topic?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this.
OC has better scrims than Asia. Way better scrims than Asia. I've watched both the scrims. OC is just all around better scrims. Two West duos played Asia World Cup warm up. Arcrum and Tacos, they got 7th, I believe, and me and River played and we got 12th. So the region as a whole just isn't that insane.
And that was on like 100 something ping.
I'm on 180 because I'm from Canada, and River was on like 110, 120.
Yeah, that's not a great look for the region.
It's just a joke. Like, I don't know. Like, we wouldn't be able to go to OC and do that, I don't think. Or like even that you could definitely do that on Brazil. You could probably win Brazil on 100 ping.
Can we talk about real quick how I would like to go back to being able to play multiple regions? I would love that. I would love that back. I don't like this region lock. Yeah, the top tier pros should have the ability to take money from lower tier players. Sorry, I'm not trying to steal your lunch money, but like if I can make money on 100 ping in Europe, then I deserve that money, even if it's like $100.
I'm pretty sure that's why TSM got the Texas house.
Yeah, because I think they thought that World Cup was going to be like the warm-up cups where they would be like, okay, we should get it in Texas because that way they'll have okay ping to west and okay ping to east.
Yep.
But they should have sold that house as soon as they found out that the region lock was a thing, because they kind of screwed their players.
And people all moved out of the house.
I know we just rented this, but can we cancel because we need to move Virginia?
Yeah, you buy out of that lease ASAP. There's not even a second thought there, right?
Yeah.
Although, obviously the situation was fine enough for the only real players anyone thought was going to qualify from TSM to qualify, right? So, well, that's not totally fair, right? You got some other players that were like kind of favored there. People expected, like even like I don't know, Cloud maybe. All right. Anyway, I want to move on. I want to talk about kschb and.
All right.
Yeah. Like, what are you guys' thoughts, right?
What do you want to know?
They're intended to be dropping Tilted as well, right? They've been pretty solid about that. I mean, people
sounds like they want to give free 50 pots to Mongoloid and Mitro every game. That's what it sounds like. Sounds like they've got some colluding going on. Because I'm sorry, but I don't see them.
You don't think the MSF guys can stand up to?
I don't think as a duo, Skeptic and kschb are strong enough to play against people like that. I think kschb is a great player, but I mean, kschb has openly said he doesn't want to do a Skeptic anymore, and we've seen that kschb is easily the far superior fragger. So I think that landing Tilted is going to be a major throw for them.
Yeah,
like kschb should be playing to like. I realize that like Skeptic's the weaker player, so kschb should be playing to Skeptic's strengths and just using his own strengths to boost the duo even more. So like kschb is great at fragging in endgame, he's great at finding frags. kschb isn't so great at early game fighting, so maybe don't land Tilted. Find a baller route that you both can do. Play to your duo's strengths. Do what you have to do to get points. But if you think that you're going to be able to just drag Skeptic around Tilted and frag everybody, you're sorely mistaken, because these kids are going to bop you in 2v1s. I promise you.
That's fair. All right. Okay. Well, that's a bit. That's the show, guys. That's what we got for this evening. I want to thank both you guys for coming on, answering questions, doing your thing. Scented, where what are you going to be up to, in the coming weeks, and where can people find you getting up to it?
You just gotta, honestly, my Twitter's Liquid Scented, my Twitch is Scented, but honestly, I'm just gonna continue playing Fortnite all day, every day, basically, and trying to be the best player I can be, gonna qualify for the World Cup, hopefully, and stuff, but
yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
get the hype.
Hopefully.
Where can people watch you do this?
Well, my Twitch is just Scented, and my Twitter is just Liquid Scented, so yeah.
Beautiful.
There.
Follow them up.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Thank you.
Do you have a YouTube Scented?
I do. It's just Liquid Scented as well.
Liquid Scented on the YouTube. Goated on the YouTube. All right. Well, thank you so much, and have a fantastic rest of your evening, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show, dude. Appreciate it.
All right, Bumpaah, thank you so much for stepping in to co-host with this. You've filled Ballah's shoes quite well.
I've done more than that. I'm way better than him as a co-host. You should honestly drop him.
I mean, did you hear how bad his mic sounded earlier? That's not host quality.
Absolutely dog shit. Terrible quality control. I can't believe he would even think to taint your show with that mic quality.
No, we love Ballatw. We also love Bumpaah. Thank you so much for helping me out here. I don't think I could do it solo. I don't think I could have handled the rambunctiousness that is scented. God, that guy's bouncing off the walls. I couldn't. I'm not on my own. So thank you for saving me from that. Really appreciate it.
No problem. I'm glad that I brought the energy down for you. You know.
Thanks, man. Thanks. So, what are you gonna be up to in the coming weeks, and where can people see you get up to?
I will be taking a vacation to watch the World Cup. I will be drinking heavily. It is going to be very fun.
Watch party?
Watch party? Maybe if there is one, though, it will be on twitch.tv/Bumpaah for the greatest watch party of all time. But yeah, I don't really have much to promote. Twitter. @Bumpaah on Twitter, boost my follower count, give me some of those impressions. You know,
you got some
go
great
like my free agent
montages.
Tweet. I'm trying to get paid. Orgs out there, salary me. You won't regret it. I promise you.
Vouch.
If you want mediocre placements and fantastic content, I'm your man.
If you want Avril Lavigne montages, this is your fella.
Avril Lavigne montages, amazing, fantastic content. But yeah, Tim, I do have a question for you before I leave. What the fuck are you doing with your hat?
Okay,
Holy shit, dude. Either put it on backwards or put it on straight. What the fuck is this upward shit? You look like a goddamn duck. I don't want to hear it. Holy shit, thank you. Jesus Christ. I'm leaving.
Here's the thing, dude. Here's the thing. The thing is that it's really hot in here, and I have this fan next to me, and earlier I discovered...
My name's Tim. I'm from Utah.
Earlier I discovered that I could like tilt my hat weird. It would like catch the air from the fan and like throw it all over my face, and that was great. That was heaven. And then I was like getting ready for the show and was like, yeah, this is fine. I took a picture and I texted it to my wife. I was like, this looks fine, right? And she's like, yeah. So I left it.
Yeah, your wife's gonna lie to you. Counterpoint to that, you know, you can just take the hat off, right? If you want like airflow.
No. It was like no. It was like the fan like blows over my head, and it was like catching it. You know what I'm saying? It was providing value. It's not an airstrike. It's a stink. It was providing value.
I'm hearing a lot of excuses. I'm hearing a lot of excuses as to why you've tainted my eyes with your poor fashion choice.
Thank you so much, Bumpaah, for coming on Hotline FN. We're gonna get you out of here. Goodbye.
I'm leaving. Goodbye. I love you. Mwah.
Love you too.
How do I turn my video off? Oh, there it goes.
I turn it off. All right, guys. This has been Hotline FN. Thank you so much for tuning in, for listening, for watching. I hope you've had a fantastic time. Thank you so much for all the likes and the follows. It means a ton. The best way to keep content around that you enjoy is to support it. It's really the only way, right? So if you enjoy Hotline FN, if you enjoy any of the people on the show, any of the people who called into the show, support them. And it's so easy to do it for free. Follow them on Twitter, like on Twitch, subscribe to their YouTubes. Easy to do it for free. And if you're interested in helping out a little more, you can always subscribe right here on Twitch to Hotline FN and to everyone else's individual Twitch platforms. So again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on Hotline FN.